Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Xwf Podcast with your host, Chronic Chris Page, them no good bastards, Thunder Knuckles, Bobby Bourbon, and yes, if available, Bearded War Pig. And the action starts now.
Everybody, it feels so good to be back in the studios here at the XWF Media location within the XWF corporate offices in bumfuck nowhere. This is Chris Page. We're back with another episode of the XWF Podcast, and we're going to be talking everything bad medicine 2021. This is our first show back in, say, a couple of months. It's going to be really good to sit down and talk to these guys again. Let's go ahead and get them no good bastards in here. Bobby Bourbon, welcome back to the XWF Podcast. It feels great to be recording once again, and I know that on our hiatus, you and I were able to meet face to face down in the great state of Florida.
We were, and I will say I get why they call it the Sunshine State. It is very sunny. I know this is the first podcast we've done in a couple of months. I just wanted to put this out there. The safe word is banana peel. Because if we're going to reignite the spark, there's no reason for us to use the old safe word.
Safe words for the new era in the podcast. I can dig it, man.
Banana
TK.
peel.
Banana peel. Sorry, banana peel. I will eventually get it correct. TK, welcome back. It's good to see you in the mix again, sir. How was your vacay?
Fantastic. And banana peel.
Ready for it already?
You got to play it safe, bro.
Well, I mean, what's been going on with you since we've been on break, brother?
Oh, not much. I played a lot of video games. That was fantastic.
I know what you didn't do. Call me.
That's a fact.
Feel a little butthurt. I mean, after the fact, I said, talk to somebody every day for months and months and months and months and months, and then you don't talk to them for a month and a half. Your feelings get a little hurt.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think everyone can agree. If you had to talk to Chris Page every day, you'd need 2 months off.
You have a really good point.
I would need 2 months off.
He's got a good point.
Banana peel.
You know what? Banana peel. So there, safe word's already been said. So no more picking on me. We don't have Gator on this show, so that's not going to happen. Gotcha. Listen, I'm ready to jump into this. We got a couple of guests I want to bring in. Go ahead and get the first one in. He is one half of our principal ownership within the XWF, the one and only Theo Pryce. Welcome back into the podcast, sir.
Happy to be here. And I can confirm, if you talk to Chris Page every day, you needed to, if not more. Long break from Chris Page.
Right. Theo Pryce, thank you for joining us on the XWF Podcast, brother. You have a good night. Robbie, do you got eyes on our other guest, man? I can't find him.
Yeah, hold on. I think he went into the broom closet for some reason, thinking that that's where the entertaining show was. And to be fair, for the past couple of months, he's right. So I'm going to go get him right now. Let's bring in Mr. Peter Vaughn.
Are you making me come in from here, man? I mean, had the new nail guns in there and everything. That was a great broom closet.
It is. It's a wonderful broom closet. There's even like mothballs in there. I hope you didn't inhale anything that's really toxic. Like, that's my job.
After so many years, what's toxic?
You didn't by chance see a cum jar in there.
I don't remember seeing that.
CNC, guys.
Banana peel.
All right. Let's dive in here, man. This is our last pay-per-view of the year. Theo, before we go into bad medicine, let's just chat for a second about the year in general. It seems like this was a really good year for the XWF, starting back from January to now. We had some really good storylines. We've gotten some really good talent, and I think we're in a better spot off of Bad Medicine as a whole, as a company as a whole.
Thank you for that compliment, Chris.
No problem, brother. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big year for us. I think it started out a little rough. There was some goings on, things that we were dealing with that were beyond our control, and not even things happening in the Fed, but still were requiring my time, Lane's time, was causing some issues with the boards, etc. We weathered that storm like we've weathered so many others, and we've come out of it in a much better place. I mean, we have a lot of really great new talent to the Fed, guys like Jason Cash and Cyrus Riddle and Xavier Lux and Bam Miller, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone, and it'll come to me eventually. And we have this. Oh, and Peter Vaughn, that guy, and and we have the media channel. Something that kind of you three, you Paige and TK and Robbie just kind of put together out of your own, just in a drunken haze, thought, hey, this sounds like it'd be fun. Who wouldn't want to listen to us gab for hours? But it is fun, and people do want to listen to it. And from that has spawned, Gator and Ned's show, and your fireside show, and from all those things, we've been able to kind of get out there and work with different feds in the community, and really kind of put ourselves out there. I think we are in a much better place. I think we have. There are a couple of things that Lane set out to do when he took over, and I think we've gotten to accomplish some of them. There's certainly some more things that we want to do, but we're on our way, and I think this was a big year for us. And I'm excited to see what we have coming up in 2022, starting with the Fire and Ice pay-per-view, which is a new concept to us, not something we've done before, something we're excited to kick off and see how it goes, and maybe it's something that will continue, and maybe it bombs and we come up with something else. But this 2022, I'm hoping, is a year where we just try a bunch of new things and see how it goes.
Before we get to 2022, let's close out 2021 as
Well,
far as pay-per-views are concerned. Go ahead.
Mr. Page, just to circle back, I want to say I am excited that we're going to try something new. I think the Fire and Ice is a great concept. I look forward to being a part of it. Regarding interacting with other federations out there, I want to say, congratulations to Fight NYC for becoming the number one Fed according to one poll on Twitter. We look forward to beating the crap out of you later. Bye. Not by, just like,
Peace.
Gotcha. Bad Medicine. Sunday. It was November 28th. It's Barclay Center. 15 matches in total. 14 on the pay-per-view. There's a lot happening on this show and a lot to unpack, and I think we got to get started and we got to jump into this thing and tackle it head on. The first match on this show was actually, it actually took place during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Loved the concept of this when I saw it on the booking. And I saw the card. Bobby, I want to come to you because you were involved in it. Do you have any kind of behind the curtain knowledge of how this match aboard the XWF float came to fruition?
Yeah. I was talking with Theo and Matt Knox. God rest his soul. It's a I wish him the best in his future endeavors. Moving on in the eFediverse. And I'm pretty sure that he'll be welcome back in the XWF if he ever decides to come back. But I think I've said it before on the podcast. I love it when you have a match where the stipulation is one of the characters. And what greater character, since we're doing Thanksgiving, let's have it at the Macy's Day Parade. That sounds just ridiculous and huge. And it made me think of like, this is going to say, I'm dating myself, but it made me think of like the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade, 1994. And I remember watching it, and that's where I found out the results of Survivor Series the night before because they had the WWF float. And you saw Razor Ramon wearing the Intercontinental Championship. I'm like, oh man, Razor Ramon won. Blah, blah, blah. So I thought, wrestling has been a part of the Thanksgiving Day parade. Never a match. Well, what's the most extreme thing we can do? Let's have a match on the parade. And me and Knox and Theo talked about it, and we all agreed. It sounded like a great idea. And we just went forward with it. And I was really looking forward to working with Knox for a long time. Like back when I was dabbling in the OCW stuff with TK, I was going back and forth with him. So again, to Knox, best, I wish you the best in your future endeavors. If you ever come back to the XWF, I'll work with you again, man. Just, I had a blast coming up with this match, working with him, working with Theo, and I loved reading the results. It looked like whoever got to write it had a lot of fun.
I'll spoil this one for you, brother. I think this was a Doc deal. So the concept is just great. And I remember us chatting about it briefly while you were in Florida. When it came out and the finished product, while it didn't air kind of the way we wanted it to, as far as it actually airing during the parade, real life happens, shit happens. But at the end of the day, the concept was great, and the match was top notch to kick off this pay-per-view and to kick it off in style. And this is exactly what we needed to do. And I'll echo the sentiments about Matt Knox. I've had my eye on him for a hot minute. When he came into the Fed, I was really excited. And I do hope that he comes back and that he gives it another look and gives it another shot, because he can have a lot of fun here. TK, to me, chat me up on this Macy's Thanksgiving Day float match.
Man, I love this match. The throwing
Great,
of clowns, K-pop interrupting it. It's just good stuff all around. Kudos.
Yeah, it was really, really, really well done. Bobby Bourbon's going to come out and get the win on this one. Theo, let me come around to you.
Yeah, it was a really well written match. I know Doc was really excited to write it. I was excited for the concept because I know Bobby is the kind of guy who can sell anything to anyone, no matter how ridiculous you make it. So when when the concept kind of was proposed in just a random conversation, I was like, wow, this might be amazing. It's not something I've ever heard done in a Fed before, but who knows? And like you guys, I was excited that Matt Knox was going to be part of it because he's somebody that I was really excited to get into the Fed, and things didn't work out, and that's a bummer. And to echo what you guys said, he certainly would be welcomed back if he ever chose to come through and give us another shot. But his work for that match was good. Robbie's was good. The match was fantastic. Great read. And I thought it was the perfect opening match for this pay-per-view.
Vaughn, man, chat me up.
Well, you had the opening of it where it took 30 minutes for the float to even show up, which I love, because anytime I'm forced to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I'm like, where are the floats? It takes forever, and everything they're doing is stall until the floats actually get there. So I like that. But then when you had the moment where Bobby flew in on a helicopter, you were like, oh, this is going to be crazy. You knew from right then that the whole match was going to be insane, and yeah, I loved every minute of it.
Now, what I don't know, and I guess you're on the show, Theo, let me ask you this. When Bobby came in on that helicopter, were you flying it?
I cannot confirm or deny that I was the one flying the helicopter.
Well, I thought I'd ask. It's worth a shot, right? After that, after we get this, we'll call that the pre-tape, even though it did air before the pay-per-view. You roll into your opening segment. Thad Duke, CCP, laying the groundwork for a segment later on in the show. We're going to roll into match number one. It's for the Anarchy Championship. Live from the Barclays. You're getting Centurion. You're getting Elijah Martin. Elijah earned this shot a while back. I want to say maybe not Relentless. Was it Relentless that he earned the shot? He's getting Centurion in a Kennel from Hell match. Let me start with you, brother. Fuck were we thinking?
I think we were thinking that Centurion would be a good match, and it was a good match.
Kennel from Hell match. Kennel from Hell match.
Match that gives any WWF fans flashbacks. Horrible, horrible flashbacks.
You know, the biggest problem with the Kennel from Hell match in the WWE was the storyline leading up to it and the match itself. So I think that we just eclipsed their efforts.
All right, we'll get real with it now. All right, let me shoot it over to you, TK. Let's talk about Centurion. Let's talk about Elijah Martin. I thought that the pieces that were going into the match were good. I like the 1,000 word limit, mainly because it forces you to get as much in a short amount of time. So it retains here over Elijah. But what were your thoughts with the match itself?
The match, well, it's a Kennel from Hell, right? So you kind of expected, skullduggery and I don't know. I think the work going into it was great.
Yeah, I can
Forever.
definitely echo that. I like reading Elijah Martin's work. Centurion, he's shifted into another gear recently, and you can see he's putting in a lot of effort to try new things and step outside of his comfort zone, and it's paying off for him. This was a good match, both to read on the RP boards and to read on the card. Whoever wrote it, again, just had a lot of fun using the stipulation.
Vaughn.
You had chihuahuas being thrown like fastballs. Nothing more needs to be said.
I feel you on that. Before we go any further, Theo's wife came home and she took his balls away from him, so he had to go home. So we will be moving forward the rest of the show without Mr. Pryce on board.
Those are his golf balls. And also, I wanted to confirm the pilot of the helicopter in the Robbie Roode match was Theo Thrice.
Oh, okay, got you. So there's P.O. Thrice was in the house. Moving
in the
forward. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, got to forget literal, right? Literal. The moving forward, we got JB and Gage Coleman. I kind of like this segment and where it's going. It looks like these cats are setting up a program or of some sort, which is always good to see, especially on an undercard. Gives people something to do.
Yeah,
And,
I've been loving this feud so far. Reggie and Cage have just they've been one of the more entertaining feuds to read on the boards, and one of the more, I don't know, three-dimensional, the more living, breathing feuds.
you can tell that the two are invested in what they're doing for sure. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them kind of pay off the div. And I like the feel. It didn't overstay its welcome. It served its purpose. It got the little point across that they were trying to get across. Excuse me. It took us forward into the show where we've got Mercy taking on Bianca McBride. Peter Vaughn, let me start with you on this match with Mercy and Bianca. I think this was have been a squash with Mercy going over here. I don't know if Bianca showed up.
It was a very quick one, which sometimes that happens. You hate it, and somebody can't role play, but you got to deal with it and just get the squash over with.
Yep.
I've seen Bianca's work before. Bianca's done some good work before, so I was surprised when it was a squash. I went back and looked and went, "Oh yeah, there was nothing."
It's rare that she no shows, and it is what it is. It served its purpose on the pay per view. It got us to, unless Bobby TK, unless you guys got something on that, not a whole lot to be said.
Nope.
Yeah, not much.
Bobby, let me start with you on Big Money Oswald and Thias Watts. The stip on this was if Thias wins, Big Money Oz and Thias team up. If Ozzy wins, Thias' career in the XWF is done. There were some stakes here. Yeah, Bobby, what did you think about this one?
I thought this was, I think both competitors put out some great work on the boards, and I think that again, these guys work together to tell a great story for all of us in our entertainment. And you got to give them credit for that. Thank you very much. I like reading Ozzy's work. I like reading Thias. We all know Thias, a friend of the show. But the big twist, Ozzy goes over, but they still team up. And, this match, just reading it, this is a lot of human being in one ring at one time. These are some very large men hitting each other. It's a good old-fashioned Haas slobber knocker, like super Haas slobber knocker, which was fun for me to read.
Okay.
I'm just going to say congratulations, Big Money Oswald. You rock. Bobby can't say it any. I can't say it any better than what Bobby did, and I'm going to pass it to Peter Vaughn.
When I first started reading it, I was surprised because I was like, "Oh, a career's on the line. This is going to be a really long match," and it felt like it didn't go as long as I was expecting. But then it had that twist at the end where career survives. So it took some turns for me. I was happy to see it. You never want to see someone leave a Fed. I want to keep them there as long as possible, even when their fingers are bleeding and it's hard to write. I want them to stay. But so it's good it had that ending.
Great work from Ozzy and from Thias on that. That Ozzy really came into his own earlier this year and continuing to put out some good stuff, and it's probably just a matter of time before he gets that Anarchy Championship back around his waist. I do love the idea of Ozzy and Thias teaming up. Right, Bobby? Those are two colossal men, and in character and on TV, I think there's a lot that can happen with those two guys, even if it's just on Anarchy. I think maybe we should chit chat with Vinny about bringing in just an Anarchy only tag championship. A thought.
Maybe that's food for thought. But the Money Titans, I think that's a cool name. I like the idea of calling them girthy and long.
Oh, you ain't right, brother. You ain't right.
Girthy and erect.
Wait a second. Is Dick Powers on this show?
He could be. Dick Powers could be their manager.
Should be their manager.
If he was the manager, it'd be Dick Powers, and they would have to be testicles.
We are off the rails, brother.
I'm calling banana peel on myself on that one. I'm sorry.
Banana peel heard. Match number 4. It's the second championship match of the card. Tag titles are on the line here. You've got Apex, Robert Main, and Extreme Champion Jim Cadis taking on the North Korean war criminal and Mark Flynn. This was a standard tag team match. I wrote the match. I know how this one pans. I know how it plays. So, Peter Vaughn, let me come over to you first. Apex is going to pick up the wins and pick up the tag titles.
Oh, you're asking Peter Vaughn to say something nice about Apex. That is tough. I will say I was pretty impressed with Jim Cadis for going, having multiple matches, fighting throughout this whole thing. I really like that. It was a great match. I know I'm facing Mark Flynn at the next Warfare, and I'm nervous about that because I know he does really good work. It was a good match. I like it left a little loophole where the wrong man might have gotten the pin, and so they can go back to that and they can continue the feud. And so both sides come out looking good. They have something they can point to and keep things going.
Let's come around to you, Mr. Bourbon.
This was a great match to read. Paige, if you wrote this, good job, man. This is a great tag team match. This is just keeping the tag division alive. It's good to see Apex back in the ring together. And Flynn and War Criminal, they're a good team. I love reading their work on the boards. Loved reading the outcome to this match. You do have that, tomfoolery, chicanery, whatever innery that you want to call it at the end that leaves the door open for a rematch. This is where Jim became the focal point of the show because a lot of segments after this, including the Extreme Championship match, had to do with Jim. And all the credit in the world to him for putting in that much work and that much effort to make those segments and create those for us. It really brought the show to life. In much the same way.
I don't mean to step on you, brother. Jim didn't do those segments.
Well,
He did.
somebody did.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'll get to that. I ended up doing those, but I want to get to that when we get to the cash in. But you're correct, 100% correct. The focal point went to Jim and the build up for later on in the show based off of this tag match. But pick up where you left off, my man.
Oh, I didn't really have much else to say other than, great work to Cadis and Maine for winning the championships. And yeah, keep them warm around your waist, boys. The bastards are back. We've got a little bit of a path we got to walk before we can go after them tag team titles again. But, eventually we'll get them back.
Old Thunder Knuckles, you're up.
Banana peel. No, I'm kidding. The work going into this was phenomenal. Mark and Criminal's stuff is always hilarious. Jim and Robert put up some good stuff too. Real funny stuff. There's a lot of psychology in the match itself. Great read. With the twist end where was the right man pinned, maybe the right call. I think it was a good match.
I wanted to do a throwback to tag team wrestling. When I saw that it was a standard match, I went, "Oh, okay." Because I'm a diehard mark for old Midnight Express stuff, and the Andersons and Vernon Tully. So when we writing this out, I kind of to wait and write this the day of the show because I didn't know what was going to happen with other things throughout the course of the evening. The intent was to write it intentionally with Maine in the ring 90% of the time, and have Mark Flynn and North Korean War Criminal cut off every aspect that they could to isolate Robert Maine. At the end of the day, it didn't work out. Apex did pick up the tag titles. Good win for them. I definitely want to see this match again and see if the result stays the same. I think Flynn's very dangerous. He's a dangerous guy the whole way around.
We know he's a very dangerous kind of guy.
Well, I do. I as well. More so than most. He bit me with a briefcase in like 2012, brother. I haven't forgotten about it to this day. Goddamn case.
Yeah, Flynn can contend for any championship at any time in this Fed, as far as I'm concerned. He's a strong rider. He gets it. He knows how to have fun with it too.
Yep, and in his strategy here in this tag match, it almost fucking worked. I see what he was trying to do, and it almost paid dividends. I'll go on record and say right now, I think role play of the month. If Mark Flynn's third role play against Apex is not in this conversation and not up for discussion, I will quit the goddamn game. That's probably one of the best role plays I've ever seen, as far as tag team is concerned, and ripping apart a team. It's really well done. Move forward and get into the next tag team match of the night. That's with some difficulties. Matt Knox and J.C. Keaton could not make it to the show. Thus, Jason Cash and Cyrus Riddle got to take on Salt and Pepper. This was another one that I wrote. It's a glorified squash match, but I wanted to give them a little something to take a look at because I also knew that there was a post-match segment. which was going to overshadow anything that happened in the tag matches whatsoever. So let me go over to oh, Peter, which bastard should we start with? Should we start with TK or should we start with Bourbon?
We've actually prepared a statement where we're going to alternate saying each word like we do in role plays, and it's going to be completely obnoxious. No, me and TK, we got together. We were like, all right, we got to do a cool beatdown. And so I wrote a little bit, he wrote a little bit, I wrote a little bit, he wrote a little bit. And he said, all right, I think we're good. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to add a rainbow laser death sequence. And then I added a second one. TK, if you want to go over it, gentlemen, I have to step away for a moment. I'll try to be back later.
No problem, brother.
All right. Well, Cash and Riddle, they beat the ever dangerous Salt and Pepper. And a New York Fire Department ladder truck shows up. And Bobby and TK are on it after the tag title match. So, further up the card, right?
Rub that salt in that wound, brother.
Yeah, it was just a fun beatdown. We knew we were doing it. We didn't tell very many people that it was going to happen because I was on break. I wasn't, sure when I'd be back, but working with Riddle and Cash is something that we really want to do, and I know they really want to do it. We had a blast the first time we did it over in OCW. It's going to be fun doing it again.
Mr. Vaughn, the return of the No Good Bastards.
When it was first announced it was going to be Matt Knox and JC Keaton versus Cash and Riddle, I was excited because I was, this is going to be a hell of a match. So, yeah, I was pretty bummed when I saw Salt and Pepper. I was like, oh no. And then you have that great beatdown afterwards and bringing back to the whole OCW versus XWF feud. And, you guys were on a great tear, and I was wanting to see one final match to decide everything. And hopefully you guys are heading towards that now.
We are.
Killing.
Yep. Without any of us dying, I think that'll happen.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
It's going to be a good one. I think that I got to read first go around, which is at the OCW show. Really looking forward to seeing what a full blown together program that you got time to build it. The story is already there, so you only build upon it from this point forward to see where it goes, and obviously we're gonna get that match, and when we get it, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be fucking epic. Move into a Jim Cadis Robert Maine celebration segment where we get the introduction of Oliver Maine. This leads to an impromptu extreme title match. It was supposed to take place later in the evening. And this is where our show starts to take an interesting little turn. Bam Miller shows up, goes and challenges Jim for the match right now. Jim agrees. Peter Vaughn shows up, smashes Jim in the back of the head with a brick. Bam Miller makes the cover, and we get a new Extreme Champion. What's something that I hope that people would pick up on is a little after effects where Vaughn takes Jim Cadis's 24/7 briefcase. Will play into the show close towards the end of the show. TK, did it catch you by surprise to see Extreme Championship swap hands well before its scheduled booking?
Yeah, that threw me for a loop. I didn't see that coming at all. Peter Vaughn showed up and cracking Cadis in the back of the head. Didn't think that'd be a thing. Shoulda, but I didn't.
Uh, Mr. Vaughn, I don't know if you knew that was going to be a thing or not.
Oh, it
More
was
so,
completely shocking to see me. No, I I knew that was coming. When I was coming into the XWF, Theo already had some ideas of where he wanted things to go, and he was laying them all out for me. I was like, oh wow, I was kind of expecting to come in and be like, I'm right here in the middle. I'm gonna be, maybe, and then I fight a gorilla. I kind of figured, yep, I'm in the middle. Things just kept building from there, and he said, so would Vaughn be okay hitting someone with a brick? And I said, hell yeah, and that's how we got to this point, and stealing the briefcase and going with the whole thing where Theo had said that Vaughn was the next contender. So that was why Cadis couldn't be in the main event. He wanted to cash in early and already be in the main event, and got blocked from that. So this was kind of a continuation of that.
right. What's interesting here, and you know what? Let's get to that when we get to later on in the show, because I can tell you that based off of the conversations that I had with Theo and kind of the plan, and when we had the kind of the overview, and then I went to him day of the show, and I was like, "Oh, we should do this, then do this, and do this, and build it to this. Do you think it would work?" And he was, "Yeah, it was." I really liked how the end of the show played, but I don't want to jump too far ahead because this is it. Literally from this point forward, it turns into the Vaughn briefcase, Jim, where's my shit story. Uh, Move into Thaddeus Duke arriving, or is this his arrival? CCP as a present for Thad. It's Dolly. Dolly is going to be on some crutches, and they're going to pick up kind of their story as they get to the Barclays Center for what's going to be a pretty big Supercontinental Championship match. Okay, it's going to take us to. I don't think that the XWF has ever had an octagon match before. If it has, I'm not privy to it. It's going to be Atara taking on Tara. It's a 5-rounder, and I believe we go the 5 rounds, right? Nope. No rounds. And Tara's going to take out Atara here. What did you think about this?
Well, I was shocked. I expected it to go all 5, honestly. Round 3 doctor stoppage. I like the fact that we had an octagon match. It's different, something we don't have all the time. But Tara Phoenix picks up the win.
Win in my eyes. Peter Vaughn?
Yeah, I mean, I like having diversity on cards. My favorite ones to read are the ones that have all sorts of different matches, and this show definitely had all variety of matches. And so, kind of nice just to switch into a pure fight. It's always like, oh no, the doctor's involved. Even, UFC, anything like that, you don't want to see the doctor stop the fight. Even if it's warranted. Oh, I hate to see a fight end that way, but it does give some credit for Tara. She didn't lose, getting knocked out. She didn't tap out. It was the doctor's call, so that gives her some credibility. Tara, I was on her celebrity cruise, her charity cruise, and so I was rooting for her, and I was glad that she was able to pull it off. So, good match.
It was a good match. It was good written. I think Big D took care of that. So good job to you there, sir. This will take us into a little snippet segment where CCP kind of attacks Centurion. There's a storyline that's kind of on Twitter and started in the XWF, and he attacked me on Fight TV. So this was just a little payback, nothing big. And to see here, um, it is to see this broom closet fucking brawl between Drew Arcall and the one and only Peter Vaughn. Peter, let me start with you, man, because you were involved in this. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking throwdown. Uh, a Pier 6 brawl, as good old JR would say, which kind of brought us a little shocking debut of Xavier Lux.
Now with this one, Theo had asked me, "Do you want to go ahead and write it?" And then he gave me a few thoughts of what he wanted to have happen, and I came back to him and said, "What if Peter doesn't come to the ring right away? What if he's hiding in the back?" And just built it from there. And I added in as many power tools and other things I could find. There haven't been too many matches where I used a vacuum to try and scalp somebody, so I had fun writing that. And, it was one of those where you're writing and you don't realize, like, oh, now I'm going to put this in, now I'm going to put this in. And I was not supposed to put in the ending, of course. And the surprise for me was that I didn't know that it was going to be Xavier Lux. Because he's been in TPW, and I've known him for almost as long as Will. I'm not sure which one I met first, but I've known them a long time. And so when I was told there was going to be a mystery guy attacking at the end, I said, "Oh, okay, it's probably a returning XWF star." So it was a nice surprise for me. I was like, "Oh, I know this guy. Hey, this is great." So I liked how the match came together. It continues the feud that's been going in multiple feds with Apex and my new group, the Exiles, and we'll see how it keeps going. We go along.
I mean, excuse me. I thought this was really well written. So great job on that. I didn't know that you had wrote this match. I knew it sure as shit wasn't Drew Arcall that wrote it, but I didn't know who took care of it. Okay, that's me on the broom closet brawl.
Peter puts on some phenomenal matches, by the way. That's a fact. Peter picking up the win. I can't say I didn't see it coming, but what I didn't see coming was Xavier Lux showing up, and I marked out like a little girl when it happened. It's pretty nice. Talented guy. I'm glad the both of them are here.
Indeed, and then you get the official graphic right there immediately following that Xavier Lux has signed with the XWF to do some things. So seeing where that goes, another caveat to everything else in the XWF right now. Moved forward into one of the Cata spots. This is where I kind of thought that it would be interesting and fun if Jim went on a search for his briefcase. I threw some segments together. This wasn't anything cuckoo or crazy. It was just really time killer. Basically, they're gonna the briefcase before he leaves the arena. Next match on the card. It's a television contender, number one contendership match. You got Celia Lutz, you got Rampage, and Michael Graves. At the end of the day, I think Graves picks this one up. Is going back after the television championship. I think it's good to see Graves back in the mix as Michael Graves, taking the character a little bit more seriously. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you always got to keep your eye on the number one contender for the television's title. It's one of my favorite belts. Graves picking up the win was nice. I enjoyed the work of both Rampage and Graves going into this. It's good stuff. Happy for Graves picking up the victory.
Mr. Vaughn, you got anything on that?
Earlier in the month, Graves had that shot against Cadis, and was a really good match. So going into this one, I thought, well, Graves is probably going to take it, and we had the purple mist that the refs are like, wow, I don't know how that happened, but that's a staple of wrestling. Oh, his face changed color. Wow, something happened there. All right, but it works always in context, and I'm glad Graves got the win. See how he does on Savage.
Well, what's gonna set up is the winner of the next match here. It was for the television championship. It was Charlie Nichols. It's Betsy Granger. End of the day, Charlie Nichols picks up the television championship for a second time. Uh, how big of a win is that for Charlie right now, Peter? Do you think? You know what? Let me go to TK first because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Charlie. I know you're familiar with Betsy. Are you familiar with Charlie at all?
Not too much.
Okay, so let me go over TK first because this is a pretty big win for him, and to reclaim television style. Okay,
Yeah, it's a huge, huge win. Charlie is now a 2-time television champion. And he beat Betsy Granger for it. So his first television championship, he won from Thunder Knuckles. Second from Betsy Granger. Charlie has hit his stride again, hasn't he?
it appears so. I think that of all matches on the card, and this is definitely not a slight at Charlie by any means. I didn't really think that this was going to be a title switch here. When I saw the booking, when I got to reading the role plays, could see I could see it being called either way. But reality is this one went to Charlie, and he deserved it. If or when I'm out it, we got a new champion out of it. And what I think, what I find more attractive about it more than anything else, aside of Charlie being TV champion and seeing what he does with the belt this time, um, the fact that Graves is the backside. So if Nichols is able to hang on to the title to say, fire and ice, then we've got a Charlie Michael Graves match. Now that's appealing.
It's very appealing. They've gone back and forth with each other on the boards a while back. It's been a while, but there's some history between those two characters, and it'll be fun to see how it unfolds.
All right, Mr. Vaughn, give me your thoughts on this TV championship.
I love it when they have history. It's a booker's dream. You just rub your hands like, oh, this is wonderful. I don't have to do much. They can start from a very high angle. That's always good. I know coming in, I was rooting for Betsy. Surprising since she's pairing up with me in a few different feds, but yeah, it was a very even match. Came down to that last move, so that's the way it always works out. Matches like this where you hope the booker's not backstage tossing a coin. Yeah, I mean, some great work in it, great build to it, and hopefully continued build as it goes along for Charlie and Graves.
It's gonna be an interesting little transition. Nichols has got a title defense on the horizons. This took us into the Super Continental number one contendership match. Number one contendership match. Let me say that again. Addie Gold taking on Cat Jones. It's another well written match. At the end of the day, you're getting Addie Gold, who is the girlfriend of one Thaddeus Duke, who is going to take the win here and become the number one contender for the Super Continental Championship. Which begs the question later on in the evening, if should Thad had leave with the Super Continental Championship, he's got his main squeeze as his first challenger. Peter Vaughn, let's go over to you about Addie and Kat here.
Cat and Addie, I've seen both their work. They're both they can really bring it when they get themselves going in a match, and enjoyed this one. I was a big fan of seeing if Addie could pull it off, and I know just from Twitter that I think Addie herself was surprised, but she deserved it. And I liked the congratulations they gave each other after the match to show that hard feelings. Sometimes that ends with somebody getting punched in the face, but didn't end that way in this one. So another good match.
Okay, my man.
Yeah, I only know these guys from Twitter, mostly. I like both of them. I follow both of them. You should too. Congratulations to Addie Gold. Kat, you can rebound from this. You'll be just fine.
I completely agree. I think the sky's the limit for both those characters. It's really good stuff for introductory pieces for me, for Addie. I mean, I've read it. Well, it's not an introductory piece. I've read one or two of her role plays that she's promoted out on in the Twitter world. But a big win coming in and getting a crack at Supercontinental Champion. Rolling into another number one contenders match for the Extreme title this go around. You've got Marf and Schism. TK, this was Extreme Rules. I wrote this up so I know how it plays. So give me your thoughts on it.
Well, it was a horrible match. The match writer didn't care about either of the characters. Oh, wait. You said you wrote it. It was great.
Oh, you were right the first time.
No,
I'm just playing.
it was a good match. Both these guys put up some good stuff going in. I kept my eye on this one even while I was on break. I was reading people's stuff. So Marv picking up the victory. He will now face Bam Miller for the Extreme Championship.
At some point, that'll be a thing. Vaughn, give me your thoughts on this one.
See if Bam can hang on to the title. I was watching the Extreme title board, and so many people were trying to pin him. It's like he's gonna have to keep his eyes open 24/7 on that.
Well, there was some craftiness going on out there too.
Oh yeah, they were being extra sneaky on him.
The hidden text. Yeah.
For sure. Here's something, Peter. I mean, we've chatted about this on previous podcasts. But this is my joke about the Extreme Championship is, you can know if you're liked, if you're loved, or if you're hated once you win the Extreme title. If you get trolled, then you already know that, and depending on who's doing the trolling, if you're liked or not. Went after Bam hard. they want the belt, man.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I think Bam's ready to hang on to that title.
Yeah, but that's something that usually happens right after the pay-per-view or whenever an Extreme Champion loses it. They always test that guy. They always test to see if he... Yep. They always test him. Then it dies for a while, and then somebody gets real sneaky.
Look at what they did with like Jim Cadis and Robert Maine.
Mm-hmm.
They got hit with 15 or 20 attempts in like a week or so, and then nothing for a month.
Well, sometimes money goes away, money dies.
Okay. It was X-Bucks, brother.
Yep.
Mr. Vaughn, man, I'm sorry. Let's get back. We went off the rails there. Let's get back to Marf coming out on top here, and your thoughts on the match.
I will say this match didn't have Windex being sprayed in anyone's face, or pliers being used, or banana peels. Other than that, I think it was pretty well written.
Easy peasy. It was an easier one to do. I mean, Marf, good job on pulling out the win. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Marf and Bam do. Real talk here. I think they're both real evenly matched, role playing style wise, and I think that they can bring something out of each other if they sink their teeth into it. The next segment of the show, I believe my favorite, little Jim Cadis 24/7 briefcase. Vaughn, I want to talk to you about this one because you didn't know that I was doing this, but the cardboard cutout Vaughn with the briefcase and the middle finger. What did you think about that?
It made me laugh. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
I thought it would be funny, and then somebody was scrolling through the show and happened across it that it may give them a chuckle as well. It's another little nugget to further sell the story. Takes us into the Super Continental Championship match. Thaddeus Duke, Corey Smith. A hell of a match that these two guys put together. I think Corey and Thad collabed on this one for the most part. Get the return of Papa Duke, is what I call him, or Old Man Duke, who comes out and turns the favor to young Thaddeus from Relentless. At the end of the day, Corey Smith retains Super Continental Championship and is now going to be on a collision course with one Addie Gold. TK, man, chat me up on Smith and Thad Duke. There were some high expectations going into this one.
Yeah, man, this is one of those ones. Whenever I saw the card went up, I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, this can get real good real quick," and they did not deliver. The match, great stuff. Corey picking up the win. It was a hard fight. I can tell you that.
Indeed, Peter Vaughn, man.
And this is one of my favorite matches of the card. You could just tell how evenly matched they were. Thad going after Corey's leg. Always work that limb. Just focus on a body part. That's always a good way to go about it. And yeah, I was really liking it. And then the surprise of Sebastian Duke coming out. I've heard mentioned a lot. I've worked with Thad in some feds, but I haven't worked with Sebastian. And so it was like, oh, I've heard of him. I've seen him in other role plays. So that was pretty good. That was
well,
a surprise.
There's a backstory there that Relentless, which is the biggest show of the year for the XWF. Sebastian was on night one of the show and had a grudge match with John Samuels, and Sebastian went over, and Thad came out and super kicked his dad in the face. This was retribution.
Yep, Daddy Duke got some revenge.
It was a really, really good match, and really, it was put together really well. And I echo the sentiments. It's one of my favorite matches on the card for sure. Rolled into the main event, Universal Championship. It's Lacana and it's Alias. This had a little bit of everything. He started out with some wrestling, the Barclays Center was rocking for this one, and then all hell kind of breaks loose, right? TK, walk me through this incredible adventure that was known as the main event.
Man, we went through the universe, didn't we?
And all points in between.
Right. That shit was nuts. But I want to give credit to the two people who wrote this, the role plays going in. Like I said, on break, I wasn't, I read everybody's stuff for the pay-per-view. But this right here, those two did a great job going back and forth. That was phenomenal work from the both of them.
Really was the role playing and all the way down to the match itself. Gator threw the sci-fi stuff of the match together, which I thought was really good. The Always Sunny, was a nice touch. Peter Vaughn, man, let's let's talk about the championship match itself first, and then we'll get to the post match.
Yeah, I have to agree with the about the role plays. I mean, I went and read them. I had an interest in who's at the top, and I was wondering how they were going to decide who was going to win this one. And I'm reading the match, and you got this standard match going, and all these regular moves, and all of a sudden you've got snow, and you're into Game of Thrones, and there's zombies, and this is my first time really reading closely a match like this. I was like, what just happened? And I was rewinding back, like, oh, okay, gotta follow this. And I mean, it's an experience. It was definitely an experience reading through this and seeing where else they were going to end up.
It was a good match. I mean the whole way through. I love the tease of the chronic fluke, the inside cradle. But at the end of the day, Alias is going to retain. But that's not the story. The story comes with the immediate aftermath. One Peter Vaughn, who has eluded Apex all night with Jim Cadis's 24/7 briefcase, is going to hit the ring. And Peter, let me just throw it over to you because you're involved in the first part of this. So chat me up.
Yeah, just a continuation of our build. It's supposed to be Peter Vaughn's big plan: steal the briefcase and use it, which didn't work out too well. It was a great way of also kind of debuting the Exiles in XWF. They've been slowly forming in another Fed, TPW, and this was their first appearance together as a group on XWF. With Bam and Betsy, and now Xavier Lux, and it was Vaughn's signal that he wasn't just going to go to the bottom of the pile, which some would say maybe he should have ended up at the bottom of the pile, but he came in there and hopefully made an impact. It wasn't quite the impact that he was expecting, and more of the impact was laid on him and how it worked out, but came so close. Not quite.
It led to Apex coming out and baby facing for a second, getting the briefcase back and turning that table on the Exiles, and Jim Cadis cashing it in to win the Universal Championship. Uh, okay, what do you think about this closing spot from the Exiles forming to Jim Cadis cashing in and becoming the new champ?
The Exiles showing up, that was nice. I like that. But I can tell you that I did not expect Jim Cadis to cash in. I will be the first to say it. I thought, knowing the Jim Cadis character, right? You expected him to toy with the champion. You did. You just expected him to toy with him for as long as he could. And when he cashed in, I was pretty shocked. Everybody else doesn't seem shocked, but I'm shocked.
Happened, and we got a new champion out of it.
That's right.
And we also know that the collision course that's set at this point. While Peter Vaughn may not have been successful with stealing the briefcase and using it as a ploy to cash in, we know that we've got Peter Vaughn and Jim Cadis coming at us at some point for the Universal Championship. We know we have Jason Cage and
Cyrus Riddle.
Cyrus Riddle. We know we've got Cyrus Riddle and Jason Cage versus the Bastards coming at us. You know that there's a possibility for a Mark Flynn War Criminal versus Apex rematch for the tag titles with that finish coming at us. What I liked about the show out of it, TK, we've talked privately off air throughout the week in the wee hours of the morning. to a lovely fire watch in sunny Florida. What I love coming out of this is there's 3 or 4 matches that are already built in for our next pay per view, and I don't think that we've had that before. We've had, and not counting for contender matches, so there's like 6 or 7 matches that are pretty much set. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yep, it's really nice. Since we've been doing the podcast, there hasn't been a situation like that. So I think everybody's going to put out really good stuff next time with all the builds that'll be happening for it. And I'm really looking forward to see what happens with everybody.
And then you have the way the pay-per-view is going to go. You got the fire and ice change of teams coming together and earning points. And I'm really curious what teams are going to be formed, because there's no guarantees that groups will be put together. Maybe a couple members of Apex will be in one group, another member in another. So will that play any effect on how they work out the points?
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. I think overall, Bad Medicine was spectacular. Which does take you to the fire and ice, and how these teams are going to be put together. Like if I'm gonna put you guys on the spot because I don't have a dog in this race anymore. As far as the XWF is concerned, if you could put together a team right now and you had your go-tos, Peter, would you take in the Exiles as your team, or would you, if you could cherry pick right now, who would you cherry pick?
Oh, the Bastards are in the mix. To think about that one.
They're gonna play. They're back. They're back effective this show.
I mean, there are just so many good and really great role players in XWF. I mean, I don't see how you can go wrong. I don't think there's. I'll put it this way: I don't think there's anybody that could be put on my team that I would be upset about.
That was a great answer, Peter.
Yeah,
great answer.
Dear Vaughn, 2024.
Yeah, dude, that was a great answer. So I'll go ahead and be the douchebag.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many people are going to be on teams? Like, how many matches are there? Do you know? Like, roughly, let's say 13.
Teams?
13, right? So you'd be 13. How many teams are there going to be?
Thought I had read there was going to be at least 3.
At least 3 per?
I don't know if there was going to be more.
Oh,
no, 3 teams.
3 teams.
I could be wrong on that.
So pick what, 4 people? Well, I don't know. Well, I'll go with the Bastards, Corey Smith, Charlie Nichols, Marf, and that's what it is.
Fortunately, I will not be making a team pick because I'll be having to pick a team to represent Warfare. And I will tell you who I elect to represent Warfare and show up and show out. So we'll make that happen when it happens, right? Overall, Bad Medicine. TK, give me your thoughts from pay-per-view from top to bottom, man.
From top to bottom, I love this card. I didn't have to do any work for it. It was the greatest show of the year. But honestly, really, really good show.
Mr. Peter Vaughn, for your first XWF pay-per-view, what were your thoughts?
This is the most amazing show I've ever been a part of in the XWF.
like how you went there.
I got to keep up my politician run here.
Dude, he's got the best answers, bro.
Huh? And the right length of on the pause. Go ahead.
I love the show. I loved reading through it. Read every match. It's a great show. I mean, some things took me by surprise. especially the main event, seeing where it went. But I love reading through it, and it was a great experience. I look forward to reading much, much more the next year.
It was. I thought it was a really good show. I think it was a good way to close out the year. I think it sets up the tone for what's to come. Before we get out, we've got. I want to talk about Anarchy real quick. You've got Big Money Oswald and Thias Watts teaming up for the first time, taking on Obey T Law and Bartholomew W. Boots, whatever. Sorry if I botched your name there, brother. Elijah Martin's going to take on Bama T. Got Tommy Wish and Jason Cage. HGH is taking on Lord Rab. Latina Submission Machina and Vita Valentine. Jackson Hart or Jax Hart and John Cadis is going to take on Centurion and Ruby. So no rest for the weary here as we roll into Anarchy. TK, some pretty big matches there to kind of wet the whistle.
Yeah, John and Hart John Cadis and Jax Hart are going to have a hard time with Sent Rubion. That's a good team. So good luck to them. Everybody on Anarchy, looking forward to seeing what you got.
Moves forward to Saturday Savage. Schism and Peter Vaughn's favorite, a literal gorilla, are going to go in singles action. Rampage and HGH are going to hook it up. This Iron Man match between Cage Coleman and Reggie Estrada is finally going to take place. I thought that'd be pay-per-view quality. Calypso and Michael Graves. Centurions in action, taking on Marv, taking on Betsy Granger in a triple threat. The main event, Charlie Nichols is defending the television championship against Terry Borden. Peter Vaughn, anything there strike out at you? I know you probably got eyes on Centurion, Marv, and Betsy on Savage.
I'm pulling for Betsy. Also, I'm calling it right now. Coleman Estrada ends in a tie. You have to fight on a pay-per-view, right? I mean, have to have something continue it.
I completely agree there. Okay, anything there strike out at you for the Saturday show?
As always, the television championship will be defended as the main event. Wonderful, wonderful thing. That is all.
Will lead us into Warfare, smaller card. Tommy Wish and Latina Submission Machina. North Korean War Criminal and Centurion. You've got the Duke Legacy is going to unfold. Addie Gold and Betsy Granger are going to hook it up. An event. This is one that I'm looking forward to probably more than any other card or match on any other cards. Peter Vaughn and Mark Flynn. So Peter, let me come around to you, brother.
It's clear I'm going to need probably my greatest single role play for a match in a while. I'm going to have to put a lot into this one. I really respect Flynn. He's a great writer. So when I saw this, I went, okay, gloves are off. I'm no more gorillas. I'm facing the best. So.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two matches on this card actually that really stand out. The Addie Gold match and the Betsy match. That's going to be really good and really fun to read. And Corey's going to be on commentary, so that should be fun. Peter Vaughn versus Mark Flynn. Now this is a match. This is pay-per-view shit that you're getting on Warfare. So everybody pay attention to this one.
You know what's going to happen is Apex going to be in the house? Are the Exiles going to make a statement? All heads and all bets are headed towards Jim Cadis and Peter Vaughn for the Universal Championship. It's Peter. It's nut up or shut up time. And Flynn's. I mean, take it from me, dude. He's crafty. He's dangerous.
I will say, Peter Vaughn's health insurance has contacted him already since He had the broom closet brawl with Drew, and then this week he's having a no disqualification match with Supreme Machine, if anyone knows that monster. And once he survives that, he's coming to face Mark Flynn in a Falls Count Anywhere match where probably lots of people are going to get involved. So, yeah, his insurance company is starting to have second thoughts. We'll see if he can hang on, if he can get them to keep respecting the plan.
Well, you know what, though? But regardless about the insurance plan or not, can't nobody say that Peter Vaughn's not one tough motherfucker. That's all said and done. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. Can't nobody say Vaughn ain't tough as nails. Got some interesting action, guys. Bad medicine's in the books, and we're headed towards Fire and Ice. So GMs are going to be making team announcements. We'll see what shakes there. TK, man, I can't. I wish Bobby was here so that we could close this out properly. It was good getting back on the podcast with you, man. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too, despite what I said way earlier in the show. But that's where the love's going to end.
Well, I'll take it while I can get it. Usually it's shit. Usually it's shit on CCP. Mr. Vaughn, man, I appreciate you coming in and taking the time to talk pay-per-view stuff with us. I'm really glad to have you into the Fed, and I think it's crazy that you and I have been in the game for as long as we have, and our paths have never crossed before. Or if they have, I'm not familiar with them.
It's weird that we've been able to make it this far, but yeah, it's been fun. I'm glad I got invited on the podcast. I missed both of you guys tremendously. I was crying, just massive tears waiting for this opportunity to be on this podcast. So really appreciate it.
Your tears were felt all the way down here in Florida, man. It got me in the feels.
The politician. And thank you so very much for coming on. It is a pleasure.
Thank you.
Guys, that's going to tie a bow on it, I guess. Again, Peter, appreciate you coming in. I know Bobby and TK just told you bye. And Theo, thank you for your 10-minute appearance before your nuts got taken away from you by your old lady.
Peanuts, of course.
Nuts. I guess we'll sign this off like I do on Firesides. This is a XWFM 99.9 production. We'll give shout out to TK behind the scenes on this one because without him making the edits here, we wouldn't have anything to listen to. And until next time, for Peter Vaughn, for Bobby Bourbon, for Theo Pryce, for Thunder Knuckles, I'm Chris Page. We will chat at you later.
And Vinny, do us a favor. Take us out.
From now, tomorrow, and forever, fuck you, Ghost Tank.
Thanks for listening to the XWF Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the XWF YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at XWF1999. And don't forget to check us out at XWF99.com. Be sure to join us next time where the action never slows down.